I want to thank you so very much for coming out and helping us to celebrate Arbor Day and the very special memorial for Steve Traglio. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody being here. This is a very special day for us, as it is every year, but this in particular is very, very special. I'm going to ask Steve Grant, he's our park superintendent, to come forward and say a few words about Arbor Day, give you a little history about what Arbor Day is all about.
Thanks, Julie. Well, of course, our lovely mayor is going to read the proclamation here for us in a little bit, proclaiming today as Arbor Day, and that kind of goes into a lot of the benefits that we get from trees. And it is one of our best renewable resources that we have. So I will leave that for the mayor. But it is the last Friday of April is set aside in Kansas. Different states throughout the country. Every state celebrates Arbor Day. Actually, all across the world celebrate Arbor Day. Every state, some of them do it on Earth Day. In the state of Kansas, it is the last Friday of April every year. A little bit about the tree that we are planting today. This is a mighty oak tree. Of course, the oaks are some of our hardiest trees in this area, our strongest trees. They stand up to our storms so much better, and so that is why this variety is called a blackjack oak. It's really neat. It has its own personality with the bark pattern and its leaf pattern, and it's going to do great here. It does really well in this area and has really good soil, and you know, it's a good symbol of who we're planting it for today. You know, because that's how Steve, you know, was a very strong citizen and great guy, and we look forward to this tree being here for a long time. So with that, I would ask the mayor if she could come up and read the proclamation for us.
Thank you, Steve. And I think it's very appropriate that they did choose an oak tree for Steve on this occasion. Let me go ahead and read the proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable source, giving us paper, wood for homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in the city of Leavenworth, Kansas, increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of businesses, beautify our community, and whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Lisa Weekly, Mayor of the city of Leavenworth, Kansas, do hereby proclaim April 24th as Arbor Day.
Well, we want to continue this dedication with a few words in honor of Steve, and I'm going to ask David Summerlin to come forward and say a few words.
There are very few words, but it's just a story about Steve. A couple years ago, we were, of course, doing Haunted Havens, as everybody knows that we do. And it just so happens that the city clerk's office decided they wanted to do the Wizard of Oz theme. And of course, you know, Steve got roped into that. I don't know how, but he did. And so we were out there running the trailers, dragging people through. And Steve is the Tin Man in this setup. And he really liked to try to get in there and scare people. Well, he was getting too close to the trailer. Well, I ran over his feet countless times. And finally, he was about 6 feet back from the trailer from then on. So, very dedicated man. God rest his soul. Lisa, you had a great husband. Anybody else want to say anything at all? Tammy, you're next. With her bouquet of flowers.
Yeah.
Well, really, I just want to say I've known Steve since I was 18 years old, and how I met him was he was giving me a ticket. So, and he actually gave me two. So, the first time he gave me two, and I went down there and raised heck with him, so he dropped one of them. And he told me later, not too long ago, he said, if you'd have raised a little more heck, I'd have probably dropped the other one. And then one other time he gave me a ticket, but you know what? Couldn't find a greater guy who would do anything for you, and who's just alive.
Is there anyone else that I can invite up to the podium here just to say a few words? Any stories? Andy? No? Nothing you can share? How about anybody from the family? No takers? Well, I'm going to ditto all the sentiments that everyone has said prior. And I want to tell you, Steve was an awesome guy. When we were choosing and what we do with the Arbor Day, over the last few years, we've wanted to dedicate the tree in honor of someone. And so this year we were at a staff meeting, the staff were choosing who we wanted to honor. And of course, Steve came up immediately. Not only because of what a great guy he was, but he was so supportive of Parks and Recreation. And I know it's because he loved his wife very much. But he was such a good man. And I can remember at our last, at the Mayor's Holiday tree lighting this year, he was out and in attendance of that. And I was just so floored at how happy he was and how positive he was. And so I think the thing we can remember about Steve, it wasn't about, he wasn't thinking about himself. It was about how he was feeling about everybody else. And he wanted to be there for everybody. And I could tell that. Even at the Christmas party, it was, not just about Steve, but it was what we meant to him. And I think that's very honorable. And he was a very honorable man. And we miss him terribly. And I can't think of a more fitting way to honor him today than to dedicate this tree on his behalf. And if no one else has anything to say, then I'm going to ask Lisa to come forward.
I'm going to try to get through this gracefully. Thank you, everyone, for all your love and support, not only today, but through the whole last year. Everyone knows the career side of Steve, and I knew everything about Steve. But as they were talking about Haunted Havens, he did a lot of things that maybe y'all don't know. And through his busy career, working as much as he did, he found time still to coach little basketball, to coach baseball, to coach softball. And of course, it had nothing to do with me volunteering him for all of these. He would come home and I'd say, oh, by the way, guess what you're doing? And he would. He'd immediately say, you what? But he did. He dove into everything, and he dedicated himself to whatever the task was for other people. So thank you very much for the tree and for everyone being here today.
I'm going to have the park guys and some family members. We're going to go ahead and